Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel.
Shadows of Windermere and Lab Nightmares. General Hospital teases turmoil for November 12th. Hello, devoted Port Charles watchers, let's dive into the gripping twists awaiting us on tomorrow's episode of General Hospital. As whispers of hidden dangers echo through the town, familiar faces grapple with personal demons and unexpected crises that could shatter fragile alliances. Elizabeth Baldwin paces the sterile halls of General Hospital, her mind swirling with unease during a candid chat with her trusted colleague, Lucas Jones. The conversation turns heavy when Lucas reveals his bold choice to relocate to the imposing Windermere Castle alongside Marco Rios, a decision that sends ripples of concern through Elizabeth. What truly chills her is the specific wing they've chosen, the foreboding North Tower. A site etched in painful history as the very spot where Nicholas Casadini once imprisoned Esme Prince in a web of captivity and deceit. For Elizabeth, who has her own scarred memories tied to the Casadini legacy, this detail revives a torrent of suppressed trauma, making her question the sanity of revisiting such a haunted domain. Compounding her worrying is the volatile presence of Jens Sidwell, a shadowy figure lurking within the castle's ancient walls, whose unpredictable nature adds layers of peril to the mix. Elizabeth probes gently, her voice laced with sisterly protectiveness, urging Lucas to reconsider the dangers of blending romance with a place steeped in betrayal and isolation. Yet Lucas stands firm, his eyes reflecting a mix of determination and affection, declaring that the pull of his heart outweighs the risks. This resolve hints at deeper emotional stakes, perhaps unexplored vulnerabilities in Lucas's past that make him crave the seclusion of Windermere, even as it teeters on the edge of catastrophe. Elizabeth, ever the resilient nurse, swallows her fears but can't shake the foreboding sense that this move might unearth long-buried Casadini secrets, potentially dragging her friend into a vortex she knows all too well. Meanwhile, young Charlotte Casadini orchestrates a clandestine gathering with her youthful allies, Rocco Falconeri and Danny Morgan, in a dimly lit corner of the Quartermain estate, their whispers buzzing with the thrill of mischief. Charlotte, with her sharp wit inherited from her complex family tree, lays out a meticulously crafted scheme to pilfer Britt Westburn's key fab, a crucial tool for breaching Professor Henry Dalton's restricted lab. She emphasizes the need for perfect synchronization, assigning roles that play to each kid's strengths, Rocco as the vigilant lookout, scanning for any adult interruptions, Danny as the charming distraction, perhaps feigning a minor mishap to draw eyes away, and Charlotte herself slipping in as the nimble thief, her small frame ideal for the heist. The plan's audacity stems from Charlotte's growing curiosity about the lab's rumored experiments, possibly tied to genetic anomalies that have plagued Port Charles for generations, fueling her determination to uncover truths her family might be hiding. As the weekly promo teases, the trio huddles near the lab's fortified door, tension mounting until Charlotte triumphantly overrides the lock. But victory sours into horror when she flings open the entrance, her face draining of color as she gasps, "Oh my God!" The discovery promises to be a game changer, perhaps revealing bioengineered horrors or evidence of foul play that implicates high-profile residents, forcing these pint-sized investigators to confront realities far beyond their innocent prank. Over at the cozy confines of Bobby's Diner, Gio Palmieri and Emma Scorpio Drake share a hushed discussion, the air thick with anticipation about their impending escapade. Gio, his voice steady yet edged with gravity, warns, after that, there's no turning back, underscoring the irreversible line they're about to cross by aiding the lab break-in. Initially, the strategy positioned Charlotte, Danny, and Rocco as mere sentinels, keeping watch while the adults handled the risky core. However, the promo's shadowy visuals suggest their involvement deepens, pulling them into the heart of the mystery. Unbeknownst to the pair, a far graver emergency unfolds just beyond the diner's walls. Ned Quartermain collapses in apparent cardiac distress on the cold pavement outside, his body crumpling after a heated confrontation with Drew Kane. Drew, ever the skeptic, had earlier accused Ned of fabricating the episode, cruelly invoking the late Edward Quartermain's superior resilience to belittle him. This class, rooted in Quartermain boardroom rivalries and lingering resentments over corporate power plays, escalates the stakes. with Ned's condition potentially signaling a broader health crisis tied to the family's high-stress legacy. Gio and Emma, oblivious at first, might stumble upon the scene during their caper, transforming their lighthearted plot into a desperate race against time, complete with CPR attempts and frantic calls for help that ripple through the town's emergency network. In the dimly lit confines of Anna Devane's absent office at the Port Charles Police Department, Dante Falconeri takes charge with uncharacteristic urgency, extending an official badge to a stunned Nathan West. Dante, his detective instincts on high alert, explains the dire need for reinforcements, stating they require every capable hand to combat a looming threat. Nathan, resurrected from a presumed death that still clouds his memories, jumps at the chance to reclaim his role, his eyes lighting up with the familiar rush of justice. He'd previously approached Anna about reinstatement, but she wisely advocated patience, hoping time would jog his recollection of the bizarre circumstances surrounding his return, details possibly linked to covert WSB operations or supernatural elements that have toyed with Port Charles reality. Now, with Anna missing in action amid whispers of international intrigue, Dante's move signals an escalating emergency gripping the city. Perhaps a coordinated wave of crimes or a natural disaster amplified by the town's underbelly of secrets. This deputization not only bolsters the force, but also sets Nathan on a path to rediscover his identity, analyzing case files that might trigger flashes of his afterlife experiences, weaving personal redemption into the broader chaos. Across town, Harrison Chase and his wife, Brooklyn Quartermain Chase, navigate marital tensions in their cozy home, unaware of the medical storm brewing with her father, Ned. Brooklyn, her worrying lines deepening, presses Chase for clarity on his secretive probe into Willow Tate's innocence, a case that's hit too close to home given their shared romantic history as exes. She confides her fears from an earlier talk with Dante, highlighting how Chase's emotional investment risks blurring professional lines and straining their bond. Chase, his jaw set with conviction, reassures her that he'd repeat his actions without hesitation under the same pressures, viewing the investigation as a moral imperative amid Willow's mounting legal woes. To ease her doubts, he delves into specifics, anonymous tips pointing to planted evidence, shadowy figures manipulating the narrative against Willow, and his own undercover surveillance that's uncovered inconsistencies in witness statements. This explanation, laced with tactical breakdowns and ethical dilemmas, aims to validate his passion while affirming his commitment to their marriage. Yet Brooklyn's unease lingers, potentially foreshadowing trust issues that could fracture the Quartermain Chase alliance, especially if Ned's crisis pulls her away and exposes Chase's divided loyalties. Finally, in the elegant Metro Court Gardens, Michael Corinthos confronts Nina Reeves under the rustling leaves, wrapping up a dialogue that began in her office with surprising openness. Earlier, Nina had beamed at his offer, allowing her unrestricted access to Wiley and Amelia Corinthos, a gesture of reconciliation amid their turbulent history. But Michael now unveils the calculated edge to his words, his tone shifting to cold certainty. By the time Willow's visitation hearing arrives, she will be ensnared in prison, her freedom revoked for crimes he believes undeniable. This revelation stems from Michael's private machinations, including forged alibis and alliances with prosecutors that tilt the scales against Willow, driven by his unyielding protectiveness over his children. Nina, caught off guard, grapples with the moral ambiguity, her journalistic instincts urging her to probe deeper into the evidence or lack thereof that dooms Willow. The exchange crackles with unspoken accusations, hinting at Michael's transformation into a more ruthless patriarch, influenced by Port Charles' cutthroat power dynamics, and setting Nina on a potential collision course to expose the truth. Next, as we dive deeper into the riveting twists of Port Charles, one can't help but feel the tension building around young Giovanni Gio Palmieri and his precarious choices. The latest General Hospital spoilers point to a high-stakes lab break-in that could shatter fragile alliances and expose dark secrets, leaving families on the brink of chaos. At the heart of this brewing storm is Gio, the spirited newcomer who's already carving out a place in the Quartermain legacy as Brooklyn's biological son. Spoilers tease that Dante Falconeri, ever the vigilant detective, might soon close in on Gio during this daring infiltration of the research facility. The plan, hatched in secrecy, involves Gio aiding Emma Scorpio Drake in her quest to halt what she sees as cruel experiments on innocent animals. Yet, beneath the surface of this noble intent lies a web of unforeseen dangers that could ensnare not just the young duo, but ripple out to touch everyone connected to them. Imagine the lab's sterile corridors hiding more than just test tubes, perhaps classified files, or shadowy figures pulling strings from afar. This isn't merely a youthful rebellion. It's a collision course with Port Charles' underbelly of intrigue, where good intentions often pave the road to unintended consequences. Gio, with his youthful idealism and unwavering loyalty, fully grasps the risks of this midnight escapade. He's no stranger to the Quartermain family's turbulent history, having grown up hearing whispers of scandals that have tested loyalties time and again. Still, his bond with Emma drives him forward. She's like a sister to him, her fiery determination to protect vulnerable creatures mirroring the protective instincts he inherited from Brooklyn. Emma's conviction runs deep. She's convinced that Professor Henry Hank Dalton, the enigmatic head of the lab, is overseeing barbaric procedures that twist science into something monstrous. Fans of the show will recall Dalton's shadowy past, with rumors of ties to international research conglomerates that prioritize profits over ethics. But as seasoned viewers know, General Hospital thrives on layers of deception. What you and Emma perceive as a straightforward animal rights crusade might actually brush against a far grander conspiracy, one involving corporate espionage or even connections to the town's lingering criminal syndicates. Their naivety could be their downfall. Entering that lab might unlock doors they never meant to open, forcing them to confront horrors that redefine their understanding of trust and morality. Picture the dim glow of computer screens revealing encrypted data on experimental serums, or worse, evidence of tampering with human subjects in ways that echo the show's storied medical mysteries. As the duo creeps through the facility's fortified entrance, an alarming revelation looms, poised to upend their world. Spoilers hint at a discovery so grotesque, it could leave even the most jaded Port Charles resident reeling. Perhaps not just animal testing, but illicit human trials disguised as groundbreaking therapies, or bioengineered threats that tie back to long-forgotten WSB operations. Emma, with her Drake heritage of medical curiosity turned activism, might freeze in revulsion, her passion curdling into doubt about the very causes she champions. Gio, ever the quick thinker, could spot the peril first, his musicians ear attuned to the subtle hum of surveillance equipment. Will it be a silent digital alert pinging to security feeds, or a blaring siren that shatters the night's quiet? Either way, their intrusion won't go unnoticed. In a twist that amplifies the drama, the lab's advanced AI monitoring system newly installed under Dalton's oversight might capture every footstep, broadcasting their presence to on-site guards or even off-site authorities. This revelation isn't just a plot device, it's a narrative pivot that forces character growth, highlighting how innocence clashes with the harsh realities of a town built on secrets. For Emma and Gio, it's a baptism by fire, teaching them that heroism often demands sacrifices they aren't prepared to make. In the heat of the moment, Gio's protective instincts could shine through, positioning him as the ultimate shield for Emma. Spoilers suggest he might scoop her up and bolt through the shadows, claiming full responsibility to spare her further entanglement. This act of chivalry aligns perfectly with his character arc. Brooklyn's son, raised on tales of family honor amid the Quartermain's endless boardroom battles. Emma's track record of scrapes, from her family's espionage-tinged legacy to her own impulsive adventures, makes her a magnet for trouble. Another black mark could jeopardize her future in medicine or activism. By stepping forward, Gio not only buys her time but also cements his role as the family's emerging guardian. Envision the chase. Alarms wailing as they dodge laser grids and patrolling drones, Gio's heart pounding not just from fear, but from the dawning realization that this night could redefine his relationships forever. Such selflessness adds emotional depth, transforming a simple break-in into a tale of budding maturity and the burdens of loyalty. Even if escape proves elusive, Gio's willingness to shoulder the blame could reshape dynamics across Port Charles. He might spin a tale to authorities, insisting he dragged a reluctant Emma into his solo scheme, painting himself as the instigator driven by misguided curiosity. This confession would thrust Dante into an agonizing dilemma, torn between duty and the budding rapport he's forging with Gio. Their recent interactions, shared coffees at Kelly's, tentative talks about fatherhood and second chances have hinted at a mentor-mentee bond, perhaps even a surrogate family tie. But Dante's badge demands impartiality. Spoilers indicate his professional life will bleed into the personal, forcing a choice that could fracture this fragile connection. Will he slap cuffs on Gio, his own son Rocco's unlikely friend, or opt for a stern interrogation laced with paternal concern? The tension escalates when considering Dante's history of bending rules for family, as seen in past entanglements with the mob. A detailed analysis of this conflict reveals how General Hospital masterfully weaves law enforcement themes with emotional stakes, showing Dante not as a flawless hero, but as a man grappling with the gray areas of justice. If Dante wavers, it might invite accusations of favoritism, further complicating his role in the PCPD. Brooke Lynn, ever the fierce mama bear, won't stand idly by as her son's fate hangs in the balance. Spoilers warn of her spiraling into panic, her composure cracking under the weight of legal woes that threaten to upend the life she's fought to give Gio. Picture her storming into the station, her designer heels clicking with purpose, demanding Dante pull strings or face her wrath. As a quartermain by marriage and a music industry powerhouse, Brooke Lynn wields influence, but this personal crisis strips away her armor, exposing vulnerabilities rooted in her own youthful mistakes. Her confrontation with Dante could ignite a powder keg, dredging up old resentments from their shared history, perhaps echoes of past romantic tensions or custody battles. This maternal fury adds layers to the storyline, illustrating how parental love can blind one to consequences, pushing Brooke Lynn toward desperate measures like calling in favors from Tracy or even Ned. In a broader sense, it underscores the show's exploration of legacy, how the sins and strengths of parents echo in their children, turning a single night's folly into a catalyst for reconciliation or rift. On a more devastating note, Dante's reaction to Gio's involvement of Rocco Falconeri in the scheme could shatter the detective's hard-won progress. Rocco, Dante's young son, was roped into swiping Britt Westburn's key fob, a seemingly innocuous task that now reeks of endangerment. Spoilers paint Dante as heartbroken, watching the trust he's built with Gio crumble like a house of cards. Their recent strides, Gio opening up about his adoption, Dante sharing stories of his own rocky path, felt like a breakthrough, a chance to mend the gaps left by years apart. But this betrayal stings deeply, evoking Dante's fears of history repeating itself with his own family. Imagine the raw confrontation, Dante's voice breaking as he accuses Gio of recklessness, the weight of fatherly disappointment hanging heavy. This emotional devastation isn't mere melodrama. It's a pivotal character examination, revealing Dante's growth from impulsive cop to reflective parent. The fallout could ripple to Rocco, prompting therapy sessions or family interventions, while straining Dante's marriage and career. In Port Charles' intricate tapestry, such personal upheavals often foreshadow larger threats, like renewed mob incursions or medical cover-ups tied to the lab. No matter the outcome, unfavorable winds are gathering, promising a torrent of challenges for Dante, Gio, and Brooke Lynn. The showrunners are artfully setting the stage for intensified familial strife, blending suspense with heartfelt drama. As these characters navigate arrests, revelations, and reconciliations, their paths will twist in unexpected ways, perhaps drawing in unlikely allies like Anna Devane or foes from the Casa Dini shadow. Stay tuned, faithful fans, as General Hospital delivers another chapter of heart-pounding intrigue, where every door opened in the lab leads to deeper mysteries in the soul of Port Charles.
Thanks for watching, guys. See you soon. Bye.